Adam, let me ask you a question. We haven't talked about food in about an episode or two. Let's just go to a standby. We've talked about it before. Pizza. Let's talk about pizza for a second. But I was just wondering, at our age, at our ripe age of 40, whatever, when you are home alone and you order a pizza for yourself and no one else is going to eat it, do you finish off the entire thing?
See, I don't order pizzas for myself like that, Bobby. Pizza in my stomach has this thing where I'll eat pizza because it's there, but then I'm like an upside down volcano with just hot lava coming out of me the whole next day. So I try not to eat entire pizzas by myself. But is that what you're telling me you do?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you order a pizza, if a pizza comes to your house and you're the only one there, do you finish that fucker off?
I don't know, Bobby. That situation doesn't happen. Let's flip the script. Do you finish that pizza?
Because the way I see it,
obviously you do.
No, I actually don't.
No, you're lying.
I don't. But I have recently.
Yeah, you
okay?
You do. You fucking do. I know you do.
No, but think about it this way, okay? Like, if you go to a pizza buffet, you're at least eating an entire large pizza by yourself.
It's very
for the low price of $6.99 at CC's.
No, I'm a fan of the Double Daves because they have those stromboli rolls. Ooh, hachi machi, those things are good. I could eat like 7 of those in like one sitting, like 7 whole strombolis. I miss a pizza buffet. I haven't been to a pizza buffet in a while, Bobby. Are there any good ones other than...
I'm not feeling this tonight.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Bobby? Drink some more fucking liquor, you piece of shit. Just because you don't have a fucking cold open. I want to talk about pizza because I'm fat and I feel bad because I ate a whole fucking pizza tonight and now I'm sleepy. Is that what's going on here, Bobby?
Thrill me.
You know, there's gorillas in these woods.
Mortis? What's that?
It's all in the reflexes.
Chicken's good. I like chicken.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
I drink your milkshake.
Carpet Day!
You make me want to be a better man.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time!
See you at the party, Richter!
No, I actually didn't eat a whole pizza. There's 2 slices left, and I ordered thin crust.
Oh,
I can kill a thin crust pretty easily.
Yeah, thin crust is real good. That's where it's at.
Yeah, you're a big thin crust guy. You don't fuck with bready. You don't like a big thick.
Exactly.
You like a thick ass
Give me a nice thick ass, some big thick hips, but you can keep that thick crust pizza to yourself.
You wanna eat some cracker crust pizza off some Latina woman's thick ass.
Yeah, I want a Chicago style ass, this real deep dish, and then I'll eat some thin crust off the top. I'll be the cracker on top of that deep dish. I don't know.
Well, this got weird already. You're listening to the Not For Everyone podcast. My name is Snobby Bobby, live via Zoom this time. I feel like we're flashing back to 2020, but we want to get some more content out, and Adam can't always come over to the toy room. And
motherfucker, I've tried like 3 times. You keep rescheduling on me.
I haven't.
But yeah, you're right.
I'm just trying to let our audience know that we're putting in more effort into this and making accommodations if we can't sync up at a given night, right?
Yeah, we're gonna make it.
You had to make it all about how I'm an asshole.
Yeah. We're doing it for you fans, all you fans out there, every single both of you. We're gonna do this for you.
My name is Snobby Bobby.
What?
In live via Zoom is the Pork Chop Moon Man, the Merchant of Besmirchment, the Sexgamin of Specitivity, the lowest common denominator, the Honka Burnin' Love. Is that the new one?
That's me.
The Baron of Blasphemy, the Bishop of Battle.
Ramon. We can't forget Ramon.
Oh yeah, Ramon, and then as my dad calls you, your fucking clown buddy.
Yeah. And to all of you out there, I'm also your fucking clown buddy too.
Your fucking clown buddy.
Adam, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. My parents were out of town visiting some friends in Colorado, some family, and they were asking what I was up to, and they told them about the podcast.
Oh, wow, okay.
And my parents don't listen to this, thank God.
Oh, God, I know.
They know
I
the
don't
name
let my
of it and
mom
everything. So the woman who's like basically my cousin's wife, I don't know how you would describe it. They're like in their 50s and 60s, like, and apparently like she played like one of our episodes like in front of the whole family, or at least a part of it.
What was she thinking? Your family or just like her family?
It was like my cousin, her husband, and then like my parents like sat around on a patio and listened to us. I think they lasted a good 10 minutes or so. I was like, yeah, don't. My mom told me, I was like, yeah, don't do that. It's probably best if you keep this on the down low. She's like, no, it's fine. You boys were talking about wrestling or something. It was not that big of a deal. I was like, all right. Well, wait till you hear the deep cuts.
I mean, I'm just
really
like, if you give yourself half an hour to listen to this show, I think with any half an hour that you would just cut from any show, eventually within that half hour, you'd be like, that was a bit much. That was a bit much, boys. You might have gone to, it was a little bit revolting there. I think that we're really consistent in our debauchery.
I think we set the bar pretty high last episode when we talked about spitting. Go back and listen to the last episode where Adam talks about his spit kink.
We talk about. I don't have a spit kink. We talk about my spit bag like every second episode.
I'm not talking about the spit bag. I'm talking about your spit kink.
I don't have a spit kink.
All right, I don't want to go down this road again. You brought it up, all right?
No, I didn't. You know what? Never mind. We'll save this for Patreon. Speaking
of Patreon, it is audience recommendation time of the year.
Is it? It's March.
This one comes from like 4 or 5 time recommender J Plus. J Plus wants us to cover the 1980 something seminal Charles Bronson classic canon film Death Wish 3.
You know how I know that we're meant to do this, Bobby? Because I was thinking the word seminal classic in my head, and then you out and said them. So
and
match made in heaven, baby.
If you guys want to be at the top of the list for recommending episodes, movies for us to watch, head on over to patreon.com/notforeveryone. We got a new Patreon subscriber. I think it's a lady too.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think we got a lady on there now.
Wow, congratulations.
I don't know if she wants me to say her name, so I won't. But thank you for jumping on.
Thanks, lady.
It's no girls allowed, but we can have one, right? It's no girls. No, we'll take anyone, really.
The population is 50% women on the planet. I'm glad we have at least one subscribing.
We got one there. I think Laura listens to us sometimes too, and that's it.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, I think we got 2 listeners. One's a Patreon. So thanks for that, Adam. We'll draw a picture of you very soon, and we're going to send out some swag in your general direction.
Yeah, your general direction.
It's a Wednesday night. Hopefully, we'll have this out by Monday or Tuesday next week. That's one of the things too, folks. You gotta get in the energy to do this late at night. You gotta get a buzz on a weeknight. I mean, you don't have to, but it makes it a lot more fun, right?
Mm-hmm. Are you making excuses right now? It sounds like you're making excuses. Why are you apologizing?
Just not fucking naysay. Like, can you just like roll with my?
Have some confidence. Fuck, saying you're like bowing down to these people, and they're not even listening. They're playing us in 1.5 speed because you talk too slow, and we sound like the fucking Chipmunks holiday special right now. It doesn't matter. Just fucking listen or don't. We don't care. I don't care. I do care. I really do care. Because this is for Bobby.
I'm not feeling this tonight, Adam. I think we're gonna wrap right here.
What is wrong with you, Bobby? What have you been doing tonight?
I'm just fucking filling time, all right? Because I got nothing planned, all right? So there's no need to start being an asshole yet. If you want to start throwing slings and arrows now, we can do that if you're down. I was gonna come. I thought this was gonna be a peaceful episode because we both are big fans of Death Wish 3 and big fans of J+.
Death Wish 3. Oh God! You know what? Let's not hate on each other for a second, and let's just go over the fact that we watched Death Wish 3 twice together. And the first time never having seen it, I was and the first time having never seen it, I was like, that was entertaining. And then the second time having already seen it and knowing what was coming, it just somehow made it that much better.
Oh yeah.
It's Death Wish 3 is top tier canon fucking Charlie Bronson, just masterpieces. Masterpiecery is what that is.
Directed by Michael Winner. He directed all three of them, and then he did not direct the fourth one. And I think there might be a fifth one. I've only seen the first one and the third one, and if I've seen any others, I don't remember them at all. But Death Wish 3 is some next level shit. So I guess that's now's as good a time as any to go to movie recap.
So I've got a good theme because I watched a bunch of movies of one particular theme, as I tend to do. We're not going to get into that yet. I want to start with the film that is freshest in my mind because I finished watching it 20 minutes before you called me, Bobby. I watched Neil Marshall's 2022 modern classic, The Lair. The Lair. Now, not like a layer cake, but like where something dwells.
Now, I am a big Neil Marshall fan. Yeah. I did not know this was a thing coming out because I don't pay attention to that shit. Adam, that's why I have you around. So I'm going in blind with this edition of Movie Recap. You've seen it. I don't even know what it's about. So I got to ask you, Adam. Did you like the movie The Lair?
I loved it. So how do I describe it? So, okay, you've seen Neil Marshall movies. You see movies like Doomsday.
Well, for the folks at home that don't know Neil Marshall, just it's Dog Soldiers, Doomsday, The Descent.
I was about to name all three of those movies.
Okay.
So, you know, Neil Marshall, like movie like Doomsday, it's an action movie. It's so weird and badass, but it's polished. It's a very polished film, right? Stylistic, the camera work. It looks like they spent a lot of money on
Doomsday's
it, right?
A great movie.
Great fucking movie. The Descent is the same thing. Like, it's very claustrophobic, but the way it's filmed, it has a sheen to it.
Well, I mean, that speaks to Neil Marshall's kind of diversity as like he can do a claustrophobic, truly scary, tight spaces, underground goblin movie,
Yeah.
And he can also do a high voltage action 80s Mad Max throwback.
Post-apocalyptic, throwback with a fucking castle. With fucking Malcolm McDowell in charge of a castle.
Yeah.
So
he can do those are
very polished movies by Neil Marshall. But then you watch something like Dog Soldiers, which is amazing, but it just has a real low budget feel to it.
Yeah, that was his first feature, I think. That came out before Descent.
It's before the other ones. I don't know if it's his first, but it was definitely before the Descent, definitely before Doomsday.
Yeah.
So The Lair feels like an absolute lowest budget movie you could possibly imagine. If you watched it, I would have to assume so because it's fucking Neil Marshall, right? Like the last movie he made was The Reckoning in like 2020, which is about like
that was a
lady that's accused. It's a good one, and it looks real good. It looks real clean and polished. So this movie, it feels like a late 90s, early 2000s action horror movie, but it's fucking beautiful. You don't know any of the actors, right? It's all no-name actors. It feels like it could be a play. And I think that's the thing with a lot of Neil Marshall movies, with the dialogue and everything and the set pieces, is like this could just be a play. Like you could do this on stage. And The Lair totally captures that. But on top of it, there's like giant monsters running around eating people. They're not the goblins, from The Descent. They're a different kind of monster. But they have kind of like, you remember Feast?
Goblin King. wherever you may be, take this child far away from me. Remember that movie, Adam?
Labyrinth.
What's that from?
It was Labyrinth, Bobby.
Are you
that
sure?
was Labyrinth. It's Labyrinth with David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly, Bobby.
She didn't even start with I Wish. Do kids today like Labyrinth? Or is it just weird goth kids that like also happen to like Bauhaus?
I mean, all those goth kids like the Bauhaus, and they like Labyrinth, and they like fucking Edward Scissorhands and shit. You know, they all do.
That's the other one. Edward Scissorhands. There are still Edward Scissorhand kids in schools these days.
I don't go to school.
Does your son have any friends that are really into Edward Scissorhands or?
I don't
Bauhaus?
know if he has any friends that are cutters. I don't think any of his friends are into the Bauhaus.
Now we're back in the groove here. Adam said something.
So the layer, right?
What do you think of Labyrinth, Adam?
It's good.
Were you a Labyrinth kid?
Yeah, I liked it. The fuck, dude? We're not talking about Labyrinth. We're talking about the layer.
All right.
It's got giant monsters like
Labyrinth.
Feast. Remember Feast? Yes, Bobby.
Labyrinth?
Just like Labyrinth. You remember Feast, where there's like the monsters
Feast was
outside
the one
the bar?
with Henry Rollins, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Henry Rollins is in that movie. Is that what I'm thinking of? It was
Bobby, no.
Early 2000s straight to DVD Feast.
It was early 2000s straight to DVD, but I don't think Henry Rollins was in it. Was he? If he was, he got killed. That's not the point. The point is the layer feels like a low-budget movie, and it's full of no-name actors, and it's written and directed by fucking Neil Marshall, and it's badass. It's
Boom,
like in
what's
the
up
desert,
now, motherfucker?
Right?
IMDb. Henry Rollins played Coach in Feast from 2005. Adam, you can apologize now.
Sorry?
Thank you. All right. What is let's get back on track here. What is Layer about?
It's about the deserts of Afghanistani wars in the year of 2017. And the movie starts with a crawler on the screen, the words, right? And it says, in 2017, in April, the United States dropped a Moab, the mother of all bombs. The first time they ever used it, they used it in Afghanistan to blow up what they said were ISIS tunnels.
Yeah.
But this is the real story.
Oh, is this about like fucking giants in Afghanistan?
There's no giants. Were there giants? Is that why they Moabbed them, you think?
No, there's all these weird theories that like, oh, that's like where all the old world monsters and shit still live in Afghanistan, and like the government starts wars over there to like deal with that situation and get all the ancient technology and shit. I'm not saying I subscribe to that. I'm saying that is like a theory out there.
Interesting. Well, what's happening in this movie is they find an old Russian underground black site, right, from when the Ruskies had invaded Afghanistan. And this lady, she's a fighter pilot. She gets shot down, but she makes it into this underground bunker.
Dude,
and there's
Charlotte Kirk is so hot.
So goddamn. And you know what? Like, for the kind of women that Neil Marshall casts, because he casts badass women, he's great at doing that. She is a dead ringer for him. Like, this is the second movie they've done together, and it's fucking, both of them are great. Yeah, she's real hot. So anyways, down there's like these Winter Soldier type like cryogenic chamber things.
Yeah.
And they're filled with these man monster shark people.
I love it.
And they get out and they start attacking. And so there's a whole siege on a base, like out in the desert. Oh, it's real badass, dude.
All right. Yeah, this looks really interesting. I'm a big Neil Marshall fan. I'm not a big Hellboy fan, but I did watch his and I was impressed by it. And I have not seen this one called Centurion from 2010. It's got like Roman soldiers and shit. This looks amazing.
Yeah,
I
never saw that one either. I didn't watch it because it came out when there was a lot of those, same fucking
like Troy
thing
and
coming
300 and
right. All that shit was coming out around that time.
Yeah,
so that's why I never watched
there was
Centurion.
like a Clash of the Titans remake around then, I think.
Yeah.
I've got to watch Centurion
Egypt,
though. Like this looks like it's a 6.3 out of 10, which for a Neil Marshall movie, that's pretty fucking good as far as IMDb.
You need to watch The Layer, Bobby. The Layer.
I will watch.
Okay?
I am going to watch The Layer. I'm going to watch that like very, very soon. So
it's like an hour and a half long.
Adam
It's
recommends
great.
The Lair.
The Lair.
And I like to recommend Labyrinth. Okay.
Yeah, I would second that recommendation. What you got, Bobby? What'd you watch? What you got?
Complete coincidence. My bro-in-law was in town a few weeks ago, and my wife went to bed, and like I know he's always down to watch like schlock action, like he didn't give a fuck, put on whatever. And purely coincidentally, I did kind of a Canon action films marathon relatively recently. And it started out with 1989, so a little later of a Canon film. Jean-Claude Van Damme. What do you think I'm getting at here?
Cyborg.
A little movie called Cyborg, directed by Albert
Fucking
Pune.
Cyborg. Dude, Cyborg
is badass. I don't remember anything really. I mean, I do remember them talking about cyborgs, but like there's very little cyborg in this movie.
Sure.
Because it's just nonstop ham-fisted action from beginning to end in a post-apocalyptic wasteland with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
And it moves from like an urban wasteland into like, it looks like they're filming in like Santa Barbara, California. It's very nice. But they're like, oh, there's an old abandoned warehouse over there. We'll shoot in that. So I couldn't honestly recite the plot to you, but I just remember my eyes being very glistened with joy as I watched Jean-Claude Van Damme do his famous spin kick. Is that what it's called? You're a martial arts guy.
Splits kick. Yes,
Spin kick.
Oh yeah, it's roundhouse. It's a roundhouse kick, Bobby.
I wonder if that's in his contract. Like every roundhouse kick I do, that's another,
Cyborg.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Tom Cruise always has to run in his movies.
What?
He always has to run.
Is
There's
he
no
known
movie
for that,
with Tom
though?
Cruise. Yeah, dude.
He's known for running?
Dude, just fucking YouTube Tom Cruise running, and there'll be a scene from every fucking movie the motherfucker's ever made of him in a fucking just strutting like a horse.
I'll tell you what he doesn't run in. He doesn't run in the movie Born on the 4th of July.
No, that's the opening scene.
Wait, yeah, there might be some flashbacks to Vietnam or something where he's running, right?
Yeah.
So I could be wrong.
I don't know. I
about
haven't seen that movie. I'm just telling you, Google that shit, folks. Look up Tom Cruise running.
But yeah, I recommend Cyborg. It's a Van Damme classic. It's a little different.
So it's great about Cyborg because that was one of the ones for me when I was a kid. Van Damme was a big deal, right? Like to me, he was a big deal because of fucking Bloodsport, right? And Kickboxer and fucking Cyborg. Like Lionheart was all right, but the thing about Cyborg, like the other ones were mainly martial arts tournaments, right? Bloodsport, Lionheart, and fucking Kickboxer are all pretty much the same theme. He's Fred Dukes.
I mean, that's a martial arts genre in general, though.
Sure. So the thing about Cyborg that flipped the fucking script was this is post-apocalyptic badass warrior Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He has like weapons.
He's fighting. Yeah, dude.
And they even like crucify him on a cross at one point. I'm like, this movie is fucking wild, dude.
It's fucking rad, dude.
Yeah,
Cyborg 2 has like Angelina Jolie or something.
There's a scene where I think this is the same scene. They crucified him on the cross. Either he's watching this happen or he's flashing back to it. They made his daughter hold on a piece of barbed wire, and they like dropped her parents into like a well of spikes or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, if you can't let go of this, or your parents are gonna die. And it's just this little girl, little girl's dainty hands bleeding through the cuts of a piece of barbed wire as her parents descend into their death, and like dystopian roustabouts are just mocking her. It's very canon, and it's like canon upsetting. As Jean-Claude Van Damme is crucified on a cross like Jesus Christ. It's a wild.
Is it a canon movie?
Yeah,
so it is an actual canon. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That might be like one of the first. Nah, I don't know. I saw a fuck ton of canon movies when I was a kid. I just didn't know.
Well, let's get it out of the way now while we're talking about canon action. I got a couple more to talk about after we come back to me, but I think it's just fair to say right off the bat, the best canon action movie is Highlander.
Is it?
Yeah. What else would it be? Invasion USA?
I mean, like Highlander's kind of like its own thing, dude. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's not a it happens to be a canon movie, but it feels like a real movie, you know. It doesn't feel like a canon movie.
It feels like a real movie.
Yeah. Canon has a handful of those where it's like, oh, this could be from another studio, but it happens to be from canon. But a lot of it is the stuff that we love is stuff like Cyborg.
Mm-hmm. And Firewalker. And Death Wish fucking. Oh, God. Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
So canon. Watch everything canon, y'all. You get it. Death Wish 3, Cyborg, all that shit's great.
We're not done with canon
I went to Never. So I went to the movies, Bobby. I went and saw a little movie. Actually went and saw it last night. And I'll tell you this. Here's a funny story. I was wearing my Big Trouble in Little China t-shirt. And I had like 7-8 people compliment my t-shirt. I was like, fucking Big Trouble in Little China is just the shit.
It brings people together.
It does. It's a unifier. It's the grand unifier. Because anybody our age.
Remember how they did like Hands Across America, or they'll be like, let's buy the world a Coke, or like We Are the World, We Are the Children, all that shit where they're like, let's just unite everyone in peace and harmony. It's kind of a big deal through the 80s and 90s, but we should just do a global, worldwide, required, mandatory screening for everyone to experience Big Trouble in Little China simultaneously around the planet.
I don't think China would allow it.
Fucking China.
China. They don't want anybody to be like, you know what? We've always hated that movie because they're making it sound like China is little and that we're trouble. China doesn't like being called little.
That would be, they're like, it'd be like the exact translation. We are not little or trouble. We do not want to give this portrayal of ourselves.
Exactly. So we automatically have to cut out China and its subsidiaries from that. But no, that's a good idea. I think we should do it. I think it would unite the world.
We could make it happen if, as long as we take down the CCP first.
Yeah. It's better than a Coke and a fucking smile. But speaking of a Coke and a smile, I went and saw Cocaine Bear in the theater.
See, I didn't know you'd
the number 2 movie in America.
What's number 1?
Cocaine Bear. I think it was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Magic Mike 3.
No, I think it was Ant-Man. Ant-Man beat it. I saw Ant-Man 2. Ant-Man was great. I liked it. I liked it a lot. People are hating on it. It's fine. It was fun.
Everyone hates it but you, Adam. Everyone hates it. Everyone's over it. Everyone's over it.
Everybody that I know that I'm
denial.
friends with that watches, no, all of my friends that are into these movies, right? People that don't just hate on them like for no reason like you. But people that actually watch them, that watched it, they liked it. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. But I'm not here to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm here to talk about Cocaine Bear, Bobby.
Are we going to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp ever?
Do you want to?
Yeah, in a second.
No, let's just get over with. So you don't forget, Bobby.
Yeah,
what do you have to say about Ant-Man, the movie you didn't watch and you're not going to watch? What do you have to say?
All I'm saying is I heard it's more of the same shit. I heard one person describe it as it's like eating a Big Mac for like the 70th time, which is a great metaphor
but Bobby,
for Marvel movies, I think.
Here's the thing. You, on this podcast, which is about us watching movies, you love to form your opinions, or let me quote what somebody else said about this fucking movie. Have some journalistic integrity, motherfucker. Don't talk about it if you're not going to watch it. I watched it, and you have more to say, even though you're never going to watch it. Right?
What am I allowed to like? What?
No, you're not. You're not. No,
why would we even talk? Like, why would we? Like, are we just gonna have movie recap be a fucking like a monologue, and then we pass like ping pong? We pass the baton. You pass the flashlight to pick up the next movie recap, or are we allowed to have conversations, or what is this? Do we need to have a reformatting meeting of what you want to do for everyone?
Cocaine Bear. I didn't have any cocaine to take in with me, but I wish I had.
Not fun in a movie theater, to be honest.
What cocaine? I know that would be terrible, right?
Would be a terrible waste of cocaine.
It'd be like doing cocaine on an airplane. People would tell me they did that. I'm like, fucking why, dude? Why would you want to do? You're on an airplane, you're just sitting there.
Yeah, but you got it on the plane. That's an accomplishment. That deserves a little key bump in the bathroom.
Well, I did smuggle it
Gotta
on
pass
this
those
airline. I might as
stupid
well do so.
Beagles.
This fucking beagles.
This fucking
Do y'all have
ATF
beagles everywhere? If you go to airline, listeners, are there beagles? Because there's always beagles in Austin. I think it's just like the fucking Austin Pet Society. Like they got to deal with the fucking.
Yeah, here's a Godiva dog. We fed it cocaine for like 3 weeks, and now it's real good at sniffing it out at the airport. Like, we got to do something with these beagles. Like, that's not even a beagle. That's like a Shar-Pei.
Yeah, right.
And like,
It's
why
like,
does
that's not that-
what does the pet society have a Shar? Who gave up a Shar-Pei? They're like $4,000. Now that Shar-Pei is working TSA.
So yeah, what Cocaine Bear is about is exactly what you'd imagine. It's about a bear that ends up eating a bunch of cocaine because there's a drug smuggler flying his plane. The plane's going down though. He's like, oh shit, I got to get all this cocaine out of this plane. And he throws it all out and he jumps out. But when he jumps out, he bumps his head and he doesn't open his chute and he dies. But there's all this cocaine out there. So there's different stories of like the kids in town, a couple kids go looking around because they're just hanging out in the woods. They find cocaine. And then there's the bad guys run by Ray Liotta who are looking for the cocaine too. And then like
Didn't
the cops,
he die
like,
recently?
This was his last film. Ray Liotta's last film is the #2 movie in America, Cocaine Bear.
I mean, I wish he
God
could have
bless you, Ray
lived
Liotta.
to see the success.
Right, you know?
The last great movie I saw him in was like Revolver.
Wasn't that great?
I know.
That's true.
I mean, that's the last one I've never seen him in, and it was like memorable.
He was in that Sopranos movie.
Wasn't he? He had to have been in the MCU at one point or another.
No, I think he was in. Wasn't he in The Irishman?
Well, if he was, I don't remember him.
I mean, everybody was in the fucking Irishman, right? Like every actor.
I'll have to look that up later. I'm not doing it right now. Speaking of Ray Liotta, how do you feel about Field of Dreams, Adam?
Was Ray Liotta in that?
Field of Dreams. Yeah, he played Shoeless Joe Jackson for the Chicago
Isn't that
White
a real
Sox.
guy?
Huh?
You know what, Bobby? You know what? You just derail these things every time. You just take it totally. We're talking about fucking baseball now.
No, we're talking about Ray Liotta, and he was in a Kevin Costner movie called Field of Dreams, starring James Earl Jones and the guy from 30-something, and Uncle Buck's girlfriend, and the little girl from Uncle Buck was also in it as well. Field of Dreams. So what happens is Kevin Costner is a farmer in Iowa.
Just stop it. Just stop it right now, Bobby. We're not talking about fucking Field of Dreams.
And
goddamn moron.
We're
talking about Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Bear. So in Cocaine Bear, there's a couple scenes. Now, I was really hoping for just balls to the wall, nonstop gore. And it's not. There's some slow parts in it. But when there is the balls to the wall, nonstop gore, it's badass. It's real badass. It's funny. It makes you laugh. There's a bear just tearing people to shreds. There's children doing cocaine. It's a fun, family, entertaining movie. And I'm very happy that America, as public, as the human public that they are, is accepting and embracing this movie. But I also think and worry that the fact that Cocaine Bear is the #2 movie in America, that seems like something that would be an Idiocracy. You know? Like Idiocracy, the #1 movie in America was Cocaine Bear.
Right. Yes.
That's
yes. I mean,
now.
I think that's a pretty profound observation, actually. But taking that claim to the next level, not only is Cocaine Bear the #2 movie in the country, it's probably one of the legitimately better movies in the movie theater right now.
I don't know what else in the theater.
Magic Mike 3, Ant-Man and Wasp.
Oh yeah, that's true. I liked Ant-Man better than I liked Cocaine Bear, and I really wanted to like Cocaine Bear better. Interesting. I'll watch it again. It's fun.
I don't remember the last time I went to the movie theater. Oh yeah, it was with you. We saw Nope.
How do you not go to the movies, Bobby? I go every chance I get.
We go to the drive-in sometimes when they're playing like Freddy Krueger
The
shit.
Thing. Right.
We watched Nightmare on Elm Street recently. We watched 16 Candles out there one time.
Oh wow.
The Shining. We did The Shining one night.
Oh yeah, I saw The Shining at the drive-in. I've seen The Shining and The Thing in the last couple of years in the drive-in. So anywho.
Yeah, so just word of advice, like if you get married, you can't treat a drive-in date like you would if you were like in high school.
Really?
They're not into like, wives aren't into you like putting the moves on them at the drive-in. They're like,
I mean, when I went to the drive-in in the last couple of years, I did fuck at the drive-in both
you
the
were
times
also
I went.
dating like 19-year-olds.
She was like 24, whatever.
What's their shot of choice?
Their what?
Their shot of choice. Is it like a
shot?
Yeah. Is it like a apple pucker with
fuzzy navels? Nah, dude. Usually they're sober because they're like 24 and they spent the years between 16 and 21 getting fucked up.
Yeah, they've already been through rehab.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like the mid-20 post-rehab girls.
Post-rehab 20-year-olds.
Mid-20s post-rehab. Yeah. It's perfect. It's like caviar. So what did you watch, Bobby? What did you watch?
Bringing it back to canon, I watched a double feature on top of to finish off the triple feature. I went straight into American Ninja and then American Ninja 2, there.
Dudikoff, bro. I haven't watched an American Ninja movie since I was like 13 years old.
American Ninja 2, The Confrontation. So, the first American Ninja is kind of like we're getting to know this franchise, right? It's not like it's like yes, Raiders of the Lost Ark started it all. A New Hope started it all. But are those the two that you find as rewatchable as some of the other movies in those series?
American Ninja.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So American Ninja just kind of sets the stage of American Ninja, and it's about Michael Dudikoff, and he's in the Philippines. He's in the Philippines for some reason, and for some reason he knows how to be a ninja. And he starts taking out these Filipino mercenaries who are in bed with the military that he's there with, or the mercenary group. I don't fucking know. And then he finds out that he was actually raised by a ninja master, and this is all coming back to him as to why he knows how to do ninja shit. And then he has a black his rival at the fucking barracks or whatever is this mustached black man guy with a little afro. But then they grow respect for each other like right after a fight, and then they're best friends.
Right. Okay. So what would you say is better, American Ninja 1 or American Ninja 2?
So that's what I was getting at. I actually, as much as I like American Ninja 2 is you know when things go like Hawaiian style?
Yeah, like Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
No, when things they don't, I'm not gonna say they jumped the shark, but they like Seinfeld did a season in fucking Florida, right? Or like the Brady Bunch went to Hawaii. Like when things go tropical, when the Tanner clan from Full House goes to I think they go to Hawaii at some point. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying American Ninja 2 is American Ninja in Hawaii?
No, it's just American. It's just it goes. It feels like Saved by the Bell, Hawaiian style. That's another one. But anyway, okay. American Ninja 2 is American Ninja goes tropical.
So here's a pop quiz for you. American Ninja 2 is called American Ninja what?
The Confrontation.
Is Dudikoff, did he make it past the second one?
No, but he did come back for the fourth.
American Ninja 3, Blood Hunt. American Ninja 4, The Annihilation.
That one has Dudikoff back.
Those are some good-ass names,
wait a minute. Dudikoff and Bradley are in that one, right?
Yeah.
They're both
apparently so.
I guess there's two different... See, I haven't seen the third one, so I don't know. Yeah, I guess they team up in the fourth one.
Nice.
Check those out. But yeah, American Ninja 2, it goes to a Caribbean island, and there's like drug runners and corrupt governments, and he's a ninja, and it's American Ninja Hawaiian style. But I think that I prefer I think the number 2 is more entertaining, to be honest.
So I watched a trilogy, an entire trilogy of films. I'm just going to touch on this briefly over the last few days with my son, because I don't even want to admit it, but my kid started to play Fortnite because of his friends. And Fortnite is a video game that's just chock full of pop culture characters and references. So when we went and saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, there was a trailer for John Wick 4. And King's like, I want to watch John Wick. So I was like, all right, dude. So we watched all 3 John Wick movies.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'll tell you what, they're fucking badass.
Yeah, they're all
fucking
great.
badass.
They're all great.
only
I
seen
told
the
you to
first
watch
one
those
once.
not that long ago. I was like, dude, you need to see the rest of those.
They're so fucking good, dude. They're so
you can go
fucking
ahead and
good.
thank me for lighting that fire.
Yeah, it was King. I mean, I know you said it, but you know what it was to
I
you.
planted this.
But it was good. Yeah, right. But they're making a John Wick 4 coming out soon. They're making a John Wick spin-off show. They're making 2 spin-off movies. They're doing all sorts of shit.
If you played me a random scene from any of those John Wick movies, I probably couldn't tell you which one it's from.
Oh, right. Well, here's what I noticed. There was a scene.
Oh, wait, number 3 was the Enter the Dragon finale, right?
Yeah. But there's a scene in right. There's it's like the fucking end of Enter the Dragon. The scene in part 2 is an exact rip off of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where fucking Tuco is making his gun, right? Like clicks it next to his ear, putting together a revolver. In part 3, there's a scene directly ripped from Desperado, and I'm like, you know what? Like, it's fucking cool. You know. Lifted from Desperado, which is originally
we've lived long enough to notice patterns with these tropes, and I mean, it's like, yeah, they ripped it off from that, but it's like we all liked it back then, you know.
So what was interesting about the John Wick movies is they reunited Keanu and Lawrence Fishburne, right? Lawrence Fishburne was in them as a character, and Morpheus. I was telling King, I'm like, yeah, and he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh shit. I've never shown my 10-year-old The Matrix. So we then watched The Matrix, and it blew his fucking mind because, like, the first half of the movie, he didn't realize it was a computer simulation. He's like, well, how are they doing that? What's going on? Trying to figure it out. And then once he figured it out, he was like, oh, damn.
Wow, he's a bright kid, because I saw that probably in 8th grade, and I thought it was cool, but I didn't really kind of grasp all the philosophical shit.
Yeah, my kid's like gifted and talented shit.
Yeah,
he's like smarter than you. Yeah.
They did. Yeah. I'll say this as a quick aside, Adam. You can make fun of me all you want. But I will. In 7th grade, I did so well on the standardized state test that they asked me to take the SATs, and I didn't want to because it was like on a Saturday morning. But my mom wanted me to.
That.
My mom was like, "No, you need to take it." Blah blah blah, so she could like tell her friends or whatever. She had to bribe me. She had to say, if you go take the SATs on Saturday morning, I'll buy you a CD. Can you guess what CD that was, Adam?
Aerosmith.
Wait, I'm going to say, hold on, I'm going to give you a year. This was like 1998.
Fucking Green Day.
No, you were right the first time. It was Aerosmith.
Aerosmith. I knew it.
Which one do you think it was?
In 1998?
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was probably the one with the Alicia Silverstone one. That had already been out for a
that's
while.
Get a Grip. That's like 93.
I know.
What came out after Get a Grip? After Big Ones, which was the greatest hits, but what came after Big Ones? Aerosmith.
Fuck, I shouldn't.
I
do know. I remember it.
It had Fallen in Love is Hard on the Knees. It's called 9 Lives. It's the last great Aerosmith record because it's all garbage after that. All garbage.
I mean, 9 Lives is arguably garbage itself.
No, I love that. I love that record.
You know, I kind of do hate on Aerosmith a bit, but like, I jam the fuck out of Get a Grip, bro.
Fuck yeah.
That's a fucking great album.
It's a classic 90s record. It's one of the first CDs. Like, I got the Columbia House thing. I signed up for it and asked my mom when she wasn't paying attention. She's like, yeah, whatever, get out of here. And I
never got my parents' permission. I got a bunch of those.
Just did it?
Oh yeah, I just did it.
Well, she was really adamant about getting out of that club after she realized I signed up. She's like, you're just going to take the next CD that comes. You know, they'll send you CDs, and if you don't like it, you got to mail it back.
Yeah,
She's like, you got to take the next one because I don't want to be in this club. We're not dealing with this anymore. So whatever CD comes in the mail, you're keeping it, and we're done with Columbia House. You know what that CD was?
Aerosmith.
The Gin Blossoms.
Oh, fucking Gin Blossoms.
I couldn't think of a worse record to get as my last CD that I conned my mom into paying for.
You know, those Columbia House
Karma's
things
a
when we were
bitch.
kids, they had those like flyers, and it'd have like all the little CD. They were like stamps or something of the CD. You know what I'm talking about? Like that shit was just fun. I was like, I want this CD. I want that CD. Like, it's very so exciting. This is pre-internet.
It was like arts and crafts.
Pre-fucking internet.
It was like arts and crafts, but it results in Counting Crows. You're getting a fresh Counting Crows CD in the mail.
I'll tell you what. That's that fucking Columbia House shit is how I got my first Slayer CD. So that changed my life for the better. You know.
Nice. Let me try to do. Wow. Let me try to do the list of my 12 free ones. All right. Aerosmith, Get a Grip. Soundgarden, Super Unknown.
Yeah. I did get that one through there too.
Stone Temple Pilots, Core.
Oh yeah, okay.
Counting Crows. Pearl Jam 10 was on there. I'm glad that allowed me to glaze over Counting Crows. Did I already say Aerosmith, Get a Grip?
No, but put it on the list.
Okay. Sheryl Crow, Tuesday Night Diner or whatever it's called. All I want to do is have some fun. Had that one.
What? Really? God, you were fucking lame,
I just like shit that was, if it was on the radio. I was like in 4th grade. I was like, these are like Ace of Base and shit. It's like whatever. It's on the radio. Green Day Dookie. Blues Traveler. And the Spin Doctors. That's it. Those are the 10.
Yeah, I was a little more sophisticated than you, Bobby.
Okay. All right,
I was a little bit older.
You're already on to Poison.
I was already jerking off to Cinemax, right?
I already had jerking off my own Bret Michaels and Poison.
No, I already had like my own taste, and it was all metal at that time. So I remember with the Columbia House shit, that's how I got a bunch of the fucking Parental Advisory albums, because I was a 12-year-old kid, so they wouldn't sell me fucking Parental Advisory, and I had bought shit from the record store, and my mom saw I had a Parental Advisory sticker and took the motherfucker back, right? So I used Columbia House to get like White Zombie, Les Exorcisto, right? To get fucking Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power, Rage Against the Machine,
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I think I did get a Red Hot Chili Peppers off there. I think it probably was One Hot Minute. Now that you mention it, timeline wise.
Yeah, it's my aeroplane.
It wasn't that bad an album.
I actually I hate the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I like that record.
It's my aeroplane. It's better than that fucking Californication bullshit.
Yeah, I don't. No, they're one of those bands that I really do get the appeal. I'm like, I get it. They're like talented and they have some good tracks, but like it's just so like annoying. It's just annoying.
There's one song I like Parallel Universe.
Road Tripping's a good song. I think I like the Chili Peppers actually.
Parallel Universe is fucking great. They're all right. But I remember now what always sticks out to me when I think of the Red Hot Chili Peppers is the thing about that song that they had with the video from the Coneheads, right? You remember that? The Coneheads video, the Coneheads movie?
I remember I don't remember that video now.
Well,
that's about the time I was watching MTV too, so that surprises me.
Well, the song from the Coneheads movie, right? I remember watching the Coneheads movie, and that song was real popular. It was a fucking #1 hit on the radio, MTV, and all that shit. In the Coneheads movie, they used that same song like 3 different times. Like, we fucking get it. Like, we fucking get it already, okay? Like, okay.
Well, I mean, they're like wanting to get their money's worth. They got the Red Hot Chili Peppers on the soundtrack. Soul to Squeeze. That's the one. Go watch the Coneheads, folks, and you'll hear that song in it 15 times. So what were we just movie recapping? What are we fucking talking about? John Wick. So I got my kid to watch John Wick, and then I got him to watch The Matrix, and then I showed him the Animatrix, just the first one. You remember the Animatrix, the cartoon? Yeah,
I showed him the first 2 episodes. Oh, dude. Okay, so the Animatrix is like 9 little short fucking cartoons that take place, but the first two shorts are called The Second Renaissance, and it just tells the story of how the world fell. So I showed him that, and it's oh, dude, it's like Starship Troopers. It's like the story is amazing of how like humans created robots, and then one of the robots actually killed people because it didn't want to be deprogrammed, and then they start killing all the robots, and the robots like build their own country, and there's a huge war between the robots and the humans. The humans black out the whole sky, so the robots start using humans as batteries. It's fucking sick.
So it's like peering into the next like 20 years.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. After the singularity, that's what's going to happen.
Which is like next. I think that's like next week. Scheduled for next week. The singularity.
The Matrix, folks, on Movie Recap, starring Keanu Reeves.
All right, I think it's time to get into the main event tonight. We've been rambling for far too long.
No, I got to do one more thing. I watched. I did my thing, Bobby. I did my thing where I watched a huge group of movies of one particular subgenre, as I like to do. Done it in the past, most recently with Vietnam movies. Done it before with South Central LA crime movies. You know.
Yeah, all on previous episodes of Movie Recap.
You just listen to the Not For One podcast. Go back, they're there. But I decided to watch a little masterpiece called Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh yeah.
You're
watching sales movies.
So I watched a shit ton of sales movies. I watched Glengarry Glen Ross,
that's the movie with that murderer in it.
I mean,
Alec Baldwin, the guy that murders people.
He's a manslaughterer.
Yeah,
and it was just one person.
He's a murderer.
But you know what?
He's like John Landis, only on purpose. I mean, not on purpose. He is a more interesting character now.
So Glengarry Glen Ross is about salesmen. It's about guys trying to sell real estate. Great cast: Ed Harris, Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, Kevin Spacey, the aforementioned Alec Baldwin.
Alec Murderer Baldwin.
Mm-hmm. Alec, the one who killed somebody, Baldwin. The Baldwin that kills. Yeah. So,
hey, what's your favorite Baldwin? Billy? Steven or the murderer Baldwin?
I want the one that kills, obviously. I mean, Baldwin, he has the most illustrious career. The Baldwin that
There's
kills.
Another one too. There's like a Ralph
Adam
Baldwin. Yeah. No,
there's an Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin's not
He's
related
not related
to the Baldwins, though.
No relation. Adam Baldwin, no relation. So I watched Glengarry Glen Ross, and then I watched Boiler Room. Boiler Room's great. I watched Boiler Room and The Wolf of Wall Street. Those movies are so nostalgic for me, Bobby.
All three of those movies have like really memorable scenes in them.
Well, they do. They really do.
Ben Affleck plays the Alec the murdering Baldwin in
the Baldwin that kills. Yeah, he's totally Alec Baldwin.
That's him doing that. And I want to say the Baldwin scene in Glengarry Glen Ross at the very beginning was not in the play originally, and it was just like they had Baldwin for a day to shoot, and they just had him come in and do that. I'm pretty sure that's the story. It's something like that.
It is, and it's the most iconic scene from that movie. I mean, that's what everybody remembers.
Oh man, and when Jack Lemmon's desperately on that phone trying to close that deal.
When Jack Lemmon is desperately sitting in the guy's house, that is the most uncomfortable fucking thing you can even lay eyes on. Especially being a professional salesman like I did for 25 years, like the desperation is just. It's painful to watch, and I've seen it. I've lived it. You know, you get in a slump.
That's like as good as it is entertaining. That movie, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's a great film, but it's also like very watchable. Like I could watch that anytime. It's kind of like The Godfather. If it comes on, I'm going to unplug.
It's a great drama.
This is what we're doing today. If The Godfather's on TV and I start watching it, you know.
Now, starting on this little binge that I went on. I did come across one I had never seen before. Something from the 80s, Barry Levinson, starring Richard Dreyfuss and Danny DeVito, called Tin Men.
Richard Dreyfuss!
And Tin Men is about two aluminum siding salesmen in the early 60s. And they have a fender bender, and the two salesmen is Dreyfuss and DeVito. And they have this escalating grudge between these two guys. But it's a fucking tremendous movie, man. And what I really wanted to pinpoint when I was watching this subgenre of sales movies is movies that really encompass sales. Like Wall Street's a great fucking movie, but it's not a sales movie. It's a stockbroker movie, right? The Wolf of Wall Street is a sales movie because this dude's just a hustler. And watching The Wolf of Wall Street, watching Boiler Room, like I did that job for years. You know that, right, Bob? You know I was like a federally licensed broker.
Adam,
and
I didn't meet you yesterday. Yeah, I know. You sold real estate?
So when I was, no. I mean, I did for a bit, but no, I sold commodities. I sold the
I don't want. You know what?
market.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I mean, it was all. I had a federal license. I wouldn't say it was all legit, but all the shit you see in Boiler Room and the shit that you see in fucking Wolf of Wall Street, that's the shit that we did. That's how it works. So it really took me back to those days, Bobby, you know?
So what would you say to protect other people from these con men like yourself? What would you say is like the, like, what are some tells? What are some tells if you get a call like that?
It's very simple. Anybody calls you to sell something, fucking hang up. It's all a fucking scam, all of it. But I do want to end the sales movies with the one that really, in my opinion, captures the feeling of telemarketing better than any other movie I've ever seen. The best telemarketing movie ever made is something called Sorry to Bother You. And it's about this telemarketer in this weird dystopian alternate universe of Oakland, California, that gets a job at a telemarketing room. And the main focus is they want to become a power caller. The real power is with the power callers. And so he's a black guy, but he has to do a white voice. And if you haven't seen this movie, people, the white voice that he does is the voice of David Cross. The white voice for the other guy is the
least
voice of
sounding
Pat
black
Oswalt.
voice, David Cross.
Yes. David Cross and Patton
I forgot
Oswalt are the
about
white
that.
men voices.
That's great.
On black guys. It's fucking hilarious. And then in the third act of this movie, it just goes all weird, crazy sci-fi. Sorry to bother you. It's on Netflix right now.
It's a really fun kind of social satire too, about like corporatism and like that life and selling your soul.
About all that shit, for sure.
It's
So
very deep.
I just want to tell all you people out there, watch these movies. And if you've never been in sales and if you're struggling for work right now, there's always a place for salespeople. So watch these movies, learn something, and go get on the fucking phones. All right. Movie recap.
All right, Adam, as we stated earlier in the episode, this is audience recommendation time of the year. This one comes from longtime listener, first-time caller, J+. I know I had seen Death Wish 3 like years ago. And I was like, oh, that's one of those like wacky canon movies, whatever. And then I want to say that J+ was the one that put a bug in my ear about Death Wish 3. I'm like, oh yeah, we should go look at that one again. And I think, why don't you pick it up from here? Why don't you tell the folks at home exactly what happened the first time you and I watched it very recently?
When we first watched this movie, Bobby, because I had never seen Death Wish 3 that I'm aware of. Like, I remember seeing the first one, the second one. I'm like, these are really rapey from the 70s and badass because fucking Charlie Bronson kills everybody. But when we watched it the first time, I was like, okay, this is like better than I thought it was going to be. It's pretty cool, but it was cheesy and ridiculous. And I was like yelling at the screen about certain plot points.
It went full canon.
They went full canon. It went full out 100%, 120 fucking 8% canon. Like
compared to the previous two, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, canon didn't do the first two.
Correct.
Right? Those were like respectable.
Yeah,
films.
It's one of those things. I don't think I've seen Death Wish 2, to be honest with you, and if I have, I don't remember anything about it.
I have.
I remember the first Death Wish is just a grimy 70s classic, right?
You know what though? When I watched Death Wish 1, I kind of it's weird. How do I explain this? So my memory of what Death Wish is supposed to be isn't Death Wish 1, because Death Wish 1's kind of a slow movie. You know what I mean? Now, Death Wish 3 is just balls to the wall fucking action nonstop. Yeah. And that's what I imagine in my head Death Wish to be. So I think canon, just by taking over the franchise, made Death Wish into what it is, you know, and what it should be. It was always a great revenge flick, but this is a whole other fucking
Charles
level.
Bronson's character of Paul Kersey, like he is in the first one, he is a complicated man. Like there's a lot of like backstory and past, struggling with demons. Something is awakened in him, like he was kind of a conscientious objector, Vietnam thing, didn't like guns because his dad got killed in a hunting accident. Then his family gets murdered and something awakens in him, and then he goes on the rampage and starts cleaning up the fucking streets, right?
Right.
Now, Death Wish 2, I can't speak on it. Death Wish 3 goes from that, a very complicated character, who's already been established in Death Wish 1. Death Wish 3 is just fucking bananas town.
Charlie Bronson is the grinning face of death in Death Wish 3.
It's betraying the realism of the original film in the best possible way. In the same way that, dare I say, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, also a canon film, tonally is just shifts somewhere completely different than its original.
Yeah, but I think like Death Wish 3, that was like Golem and Globus being like, oh, we're gonna fucking turn Death Wish up a notch. And I think like the story I've heard of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is Toby Hooper's like, I want to go batshit crazy, and Cannon didn't pay attention, and then when Cannon saw the movie, they were like, what? Like, this is your Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That's really the perfect storm of canon in general. Is that because these guys all they really cared about was turning a profit, which nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. But with that came just turn a profit. Like we're gonna hire these big directors and these pretty big stars for various projects, and just let them go nuts. And if they turn a profit, great. And then if they don't, we'll make Superman 4 and go bankrupt.
Here's the thing. Nuclear Man was pretty fucking great, but there's like a comic books full of bad guys. Anyways, the thing about like how you said Death Wish 3 totally betrays Death Wish in the best possible way. Well, I mean,
yes.
Michael Winner directed it. He directed the first one. He
directed all three of them.
Well, there's like
I think he stopped on he didn't do the fourth one, which I definitely have not seen.
No,
I'm curious about it. You got to remember too, like Bronson was pure oozing masculinity throughout the 60s and 70s. He's one of the Dirty Dozen. He was in Death Wish,
Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven. But his he was in that. And what was the other one? The Mechanic. Mm-hmm. Like all great fucking like machismo fucking gritty 70s war and crime movies, basically.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Charlie Bronson's the only one who was one of the Magnificent Seven and the Dirty Dozen.
That's an interesting trivia question.
Yeah, somebody answer that.
That's an interesting trivia question.
Riddle me this, Batman.
Well, I guess my point of bringing all that up is Bronson at this point in his career, this is the mid 80s, like he's definitely gotten older. Maybe he's not like fitting the part as like the classic action star in like big budget mainstream Hollywood movies with respectable producers. So nothing wrong with going the canon route. And it probably gave us at least, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 Charles Bronson movies are canon movies.
Well, I mean that's what's great because like Charlie Bronson and Chuck Norris, I mean they were like just prime canon fodder.
All right, Charles Bronson, the canon years, according to bulletproofaction.com. We have Messenger of Death from 1988, nice. Which I have not seen.
Assassination.
It says nobody can deny that it's Bronson's best film featuring a Mormon subplot.
And he did Assassination, which I've never heard of that one either. And that says he made.
These all sound great. He did
Kinjite Forbidden Subjects. Can we watch all of these, Bobby?
Death Wish.
Can we please watch all of these? Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
Murphy's Law. I have seen that a long time ago. Death Wish 2. That was a canon movie.
Was it? Okay. Death Wish 3. All right.
I would assume at least Death Wish 2 gets a little campier, at least compared to the first one. Lastly, we have Death Wish 3, which we're going to be covering here right now. Uh-huh. And then lastly, 10 to Midnight, which is a classic canon film. Adam, do me a favor and go ahead and read the synopsis from IMDb of 1980. 1985. 1985's Death Wish 3, starring Charles Bronson.
Architect / vigilante Paul Kersey arrives back in New York City and is forcibly recruited by a crooked police chief to fight street crime caused by a large gang terrorizing the neighborhoods.
New York, a city pushed to the edge. People pushed to the limit, and no one's got the guts to stop them.
It's collection time, Charlie.
3 murders, 4 rapes, 9 acts of random violence. This isn't a neighborhood, it's a war.
But there is one way. One man who won't be pushed. Charles Bronson.
What's the problem? Now you're gonna die.
It'll be just like before, Mr. Vigilante, with one important difference. You're gonna work for me.
People have got to start to fight back and hard.
I sent them a message.
That's him.
I'll take care of it.
And now, he's in the middle of a war.
See what you done? You got me mad.
In a world gone mad, there is only one law. His. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3. Bronson's back in New York, bringing justice to the streets. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3.
1985's Death Wish 3, starring Charles Bronson, directed by Michael Winner. Now, Michael Winner directed the first
3 Death Wish movies. Just said this.
He also directed one of my favorite 70s spookernatural kind of religious horror movies from 1977's The Sentinel, starring
The Sentinel,
Christina Range, Ava Gardner, and a young Beverly D'Angelo. Oh, and Christopher Walken's in it as well. Did I mention that? And Tom Berenger.
Fucking Berenger's in it? In the 70s? Berenger had to be fucking young. I don't think I've seen The Sentinel.
It's about a haunted apartment building. It's actually one of my favorite movies of that genre of 70s spookernaturals, directed by Michael Winner. He is a winner, I'll tell you that much, that Michael Winner. He's also directed Firepower, which is a James Coburn action movie from 1979 that I really want to see.
Fucking love me some James Coburn, bro.
And and the Death Wish movie. Oh, real quick, I got to mention it because I do recommend it. I've actually seen it. He did a kind of teen thriller slasher movie from 1984 called Scream for Help. That's really fucking upsetting and worth watching. Like it's not your classic cheeseball 80s. It's very intense.
We still talking about Mike Winner.
Mike Winner's a winner. Okay,
dude,
he directed Death Wish 3.
Think about that. Like if your name is like, hey, I'm Mike Winner. Like that's a good fucking name.
Hey, it's funny you bring that up. Name, I was like digging through boxes in my garage the other day, and I found my yearbook from first grade when I lived in Tulsa for 1 year of my life, and we moved back to Texas. So
you lived in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Oh, you piece of shit!
I was a child. And I didn't really have a choice. So yeah, I mean, I'll go fuck myself, I guess. But I found my yearbook from first grade when I was at that weird school of people that I didn't know, and I was just going through it to see if it would jog any kind of memories. There was a girl in there with like a bowl haircut, like just kind of a wonk eye, and her name was Margaret Loveless.
Yeah. Oh damn, Marge Loveless.
Margaret Loveless.
I'd rather be a Mike Winner than a Marge Loveless. Hey, do you want to be a Mike Winner or you want to be a Marge Loveless? Huh? It's up to you.
I almost think that Margaret makes it sound more sad.
Yeah, I guess so. Margie?
Margie Loveless. So shout out to that lady. I don't know what she's up to these days.
But, so you have your first grade fucking yearbook?
Yeah.
Like, do you have like 2nd through 5th also?
Somewhere.
Did your parents just get them every year?
Somewhere.
Really? Wow. Okay. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Moving on.
So Death Wish 3 is
Hope you're doing
directed.
well out there, Margie Winter.
Yeah. Shout out to what was the other woman's name out in Pennsylvania that had Getting Even with Dad? We got to shout her out soon. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, Getting Even with Dad. Whatever your name was, Betty Rundcliffe wasn't her name, but let's just call her Betty Rundcliffe for tonight. That's fine.
Her and Margaret Loveless are living.
Pittsburgh.
They're sharing a duplex in Pittsburgh right now.
Big Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Big.
So we got some other notable characters in Death Wish 3 beyond just Charles Bronson. Am I right? When I'm right, I'm right.
Oh, you mean the cast?
Yeah, let's
the
talk
cast
about
is
this
top-notch.
fucking killer cast.
I mean, the majority of them are, they're just bad guys. But there's Ed Lauter. Ed Lauter's great. He plays the dirty cop. You might remember him from Cujo.
Yes.
In the 1979 King Kong. Starring the fantastic Charles Grodin, and then we also had the old guy. Who was the old guy? The neighbor guy. He was in a bunch of
fake.
shit. He was in Psycho.
Fake Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah. Fake Ernest
Martin
Borgnine,
Balsam,
aka Martin Balsam.
Bennett.
Yeah.
Bennett.
He was in Psycho.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, it feels like they just couldn't get Ernest Borgnine for this role. But I think that he would have Borgnine that up too much. He'd be too distracting to have Borgnine and Charles Bronson on the screen at the same time. You know what I mean?
But you know what he was in as well that they didn't have in Bad Borgnine in? Dom DeLuise's Silence of the Hams. You might recognize Martin Balsam from
I love some Dom
Silence of the
DeLuise.
Hams.
He played that cat from American Tail. Now, I got to talk about the love interest of old Paul Kersey in this one. Catherine Davis, played by Deborah Raffin. Now, I mentioned earlier I'm a big fan of the Sentinel. She's in that movie. She also did a lot of television. She was on like Seventh Heaven in the 90s and stuff like that. Like she was
Scanners too.
Oh wow, really?
Yes, Scanners too.
Grizzly 2, The Revenge.
Scanners too.
Oh
wow, a couple of sequels.
But another one I just gotta recommend here, the Larry Cohen classic "God Told Me To," which.
Oh,
that was the movie that pushed me from like Larry Cohen fan to Larry Cohen like extraordinaire fan. Larry Cohen
extremist.
You're a Larry Cohen extremist. I'd like to make a T-shirt that says that.
I mean, he had me on the stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then he lost me on Salem's Lot 2, but then I rewatched the stuff and he had me right back. Back.
Well, watch God Told Me To, and watch Q the Winged Serpent, and It's Alive. God, he's fucking a wonderful man. King,
top notch,
King
guy.
Cohen,
top notch.
King Cohen.
Top notch talent.
Just wanted to push that in for a quick movie recap aside there.
Just to shove it on in there.
Starring Deborah Raffin. Okay. We also have,
and then now the gang. Wait, let me talk. The bad guy gang. The bad guy gang is great because it has a couple famous faces that are not famous faces I would ever have seen as bad guys.
Correct. Or seen in any other movies besides the one you remember him from.
Right. So Mr. Gavin O'Hillary, O'Hurley. He was Eric in Willow. He was the guy with the badass sword.
Ginger Balls,
that,
I think is what
hand.
Mad Mardigan, that was his nickname.
He was the one who referred to to him as Pecs. He was the Peck speaker. Called him Pecs. Ginger Balls. Now the other bad guy villain in this movie, who you might remember as Bill S. Preston Esquire, was Alex Winter. Alex Winter, Bill. Hey, I mean he was a bad. Okay, I'm lying. He was a bad guy in the Lost Boys.
The great Alex Winter. Yeah, but this is before Lost Boys. He's really young in this movie. He's probably like 16,
I think
17.
This opened the door for him because he had a pretty prominent role in it too, you know?
Yeah. And
he was well on his way. He was on his way up. He was on the path to freak at this point when he got cast in Death Wish 3 in 1985.
Totally. And the female Cenobite from Hellraiser 2 is in this movie, Barbie Wilde.
What, really?
Yeah, she's one of the punks.
She's that hot punk.
She's the hot.
She was from Hellraiser 2.
Yes, that's the
Damn.
the bald bitch, the old bald soul sucker. Like you got women who are soul
Damn, she
suckers,
was
and you
fine.
got bald women that are soul suckers, making them Cenobites. What's the difference, really? I don't know.
You know,
This has been
I think
bitter
leather
old divorced
and just
man hour.
self mutilation. I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, she was hot in both of those films, so I'd still lay into her. But yeah, no,
I don't know what that
Death Wish
means,
3.
but okay.
So Death Wish 3. What it's about?
Wait,
is,
Adam. Can I ask you a question
hey.
before we get into that?
Sorry.
Like one thing, real quick.
Sorry. Yeah,
Because I think we're jumping the gun here.
Sure.
What
Right.
would you say that Death Wish 3 is about?
So it's about this like urban squalor, New York City, 1985, and the streets are running red with the blood of innocent people at the hands of vulgar and ugly, face-painted street thugs. So these street thugs break into this guy's house, and they just kill the shit out of him. I mean, one of them is Bill F. Preston Esquire. He's flying around like a vampire twinkly bat, and he kills him with a bike chain or something. But as he's dying, as this old decrepit man is dying, a cab pulls up outside the building, and who hops out of that cab but the mustached face of Charlie Bronson. So Charlie Bronson's going to visit his buddy, but his buddy just got killed to death by street punks. But his buddy's alive enough just to say, "Avenge me. I have a wish for their death 3 times." And then the movie opens as fire, Death Wish 3 across the screen. But the cops show up, and the cops, they arrest Charlie Bronson because he's there crying over his dead friend, so he's obviously the murderer.
Right. I think it's worth noting and kind of setting the stage here that yes, this is a crime-ridden neighborhood, but this isn't just like, like classical poverty, like realistic portrayals of like ghettos or anything like that. This is old people living in what was once a respectable side of town that has been overtaken by street thug punks from the video game Final Fight.
Yes, it is.
Or
it is
Streets
exactly
of Rage.
like the streets of streets. It's like the Streets of Rage. It's like the Final Fight. It's like the Mad Gear Gang is out there.
This is not like a
heads.
like I call it like racist dad exploitation, like Gran Torino. And
that's a great fucking
Harry
movie.
Brown. No, they are great movies. I'm just saying it's just like old men that are fed up with the new shit, Harry Brown is the one from the UK with Michael Caine. This isn't like trying to portray realistic life in lower socioeconomic neighborhoods. This is Streets of Rage punks and a diverse rainbow coalition of punks. You got Mexicans, you got whites, you got blacks, you got Puerto Ricans, you got women, you got blacks, you got Mexican. It's the whole, every race is there. Asians are probably
all of them.
there.
As
And
Asians, I'm sure there's an Asian.
Speaking of diversity, I just got to point this out too to set the stage. All the older folks in the neighborhood, the nice folks that are just looking for someone to come along and clean up the streets. You got Jews, you got white people, you got Mexicans. You got Maria and Jose. What was his name?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez
Was his name.
Yeah. So
Rodriguez.
like this is just a clash of cultures, I would say.
Yeah, but the good ones, they coexist.
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. And the bad ones even work together as well.
I think that it shows progress.
I think it shows that in desperate times, whether you're in a desperate time of street thugs harassing you in your home, in your neighborhood, or desperate times that you are in such a desperate time that you join a street thug Streets of Rage game.
Thug. Yeah.
Desperate times call for everyone to work together.
Yes.
We can't afford segregation or bigotry or intolerance of one another because there are dangerous criminals outside that want to murder us and break into our house on a regular basis.
Right. And it doesn't matter what their ethnic code or creed or color is. because they're going to show up and they're going to do it because we lived here first. And we're not, we're not street punks. We don't, we're trying to just run our grocery store. So they're going to break into our house and murder us.
Yeah.
So, there's not a lot of race hate in this film.
No, that's my point. Everyone, it's very much fills a quota on both ends of the heroes and adversaries, but it doesn't address it at all in any way other than that.
Well, it also doesn't address the fact that it is a very misogynistic movie in that pretty much every female character that has lines is murdered.
I don't know if that's misogynistic. I think that's like damsel in distress meets canon films.
Damsel in distress in a canon film is your wife got killed and you need revenge. That's a damsel in distress.
We'll get to that little motif a little later on. Now, I cut you off there to go on that little fun rabbit hole about how everyone's...
That was fun.
Yeah. So they assume that Kersey
Streets of Rage
is the killer, correct?
Yeah, they assume Kersey's the killer, except for that main guy, Ed Lauder. He knew. He fucking knew. Ed Lauder knew exactly who he was. He's like, oh, didn't think we'd see you back around here, Kersey. He's like, hey, my name is not Kersey. It's like Tyrone or something. Yeah, some fucking.
That's a pretty good Charlie Bronson impression. Like, seriously. Like in this movie,
was it? Kind of like, I don't think I could do it again.
Anyway.
I don't know. I'm just, my name's not Kersey. So, Ed Lauder knows.
He's the cop.
And he's a cop. He's like the chief. And like this chief, when they're having meetings with the police force, like let's just describe the police force of New York in 1985. They are at the point where they're like, okay, this is a war and we're fucking losing. So I want you to go out there, and I expect body bags. Now it can either be you or it can be them, but I want these fuckers dead. I mean, this is straight up what the cops are saying, So when you think about it, this is a world where the ethnicity is biodiverse, right? But the cops just want everybody dead. Is that like 2023 or what, Bobby?
Well, I think that, I don't know. I just think the cops in this movie like mean well, but they are tired of operating inside of the, legal protocols of things, right?
Dude, think about it. If you're a cop in Streets of Rage, like you fucking had enough, dude. You've had enough. Like, and they're not stopping.
Yeah.
They're not fucking stopping.
And ultimately,
so you're
that's
desperate.
that's the problem in real life is a lot of cops think that they're in Streets of Rage, and in a fictional world, like you could see it. You could see it like you're like yeah, fucking let's go, like murder those bitches. They're Streets of Rage toughs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't Final Fight, guys. You can't just like kill them and stab them and shoot them and leave them.
Not
in the
yet, at least. We're almost there.
You know what?
2024, we're gonna have Final Fight thugs.
3. Oh, dude, I would love it. I fucking love it, man. I want to start a whole gang. I'm gonna start a street gang here in San Marcos. That's just gonna be straight up Final Fight.
You should be one of those. You know what you should be? You should be one of those guys. Let me see if I can paint the picture for you. Mohawk, pink mohawk. Let's say a pink mohawk, white jumpsuit, and the the sunglasses that don't have two lenses. It's like one long strip, kind of like Geordi from Star Trek.
Yeah, like the Cyclops from the X-Men.
You know what Streets of Rage street thug I'm referring to there?
I know exactly. I don't know his name, but I know exactly.
Well, I think you could pull off a look like that.
Totally.
I would just be the big fat guy that comes out of the brick wall and just jumps really high and then just lands and shakes the ground. That's the street.
Just ass down.
I want to be that guy.
Straight ass down.
Better start eating, kid.
Dude, we need to play some Streets of Rage. You know that shit's like we can play that online. You know that, right? The cop tells Kersey, he says, "Look, I know who you are. Here's your fucking gun. Walk on out of here, son, and go do some fucking damage." And you know what Charlie Bronson does? He goes out and he starts doing some fucking damage. So he meets this nice, he meets fake Ernest Borgnine, right? And he was buddies with his dead friend. And so that's the thing about Kersey. Like at this point, Death Wish 1, his wife gets like raped to death. Death Wish 2, like his daughter's all fucked up and his new girlfriend gets raped to death, right? So at this point in fucking Charlie Bronson Kersey's life, like it's all just like he's not surprised. He's not saddened by anything else that's he's dead to all this. He's dead inside.
Yes.
He's just a black-eyed shark with a mustache.
That's a very interesting point.
Machine.
Because he's arced, like there's a huge character arc in the first Death Wish, which was kind of the entire point of the movie, I think. But
sure, right.
Death Wish 3, he's gone from like, okay, that's way long gone, and now I've lived through Death Wish 2, where more people I love and have been close. It's like a fucking cursed comic book hero at this point. Like it's like a supernatural curse. Like whoever I meet, whoever gets close to, they get murdered. So like he's hesitant to get involved with anyone. All I know is if I knew the guy in his past and how everyone that got close to him dies in some horrendous way, I'd keep him at arm's length.
I wouldn't go out for a beer with that guy.
Maybe just a beer, but you never know.
Nope. Not even doing that, bro. That shit's where like that's the bar that gets bombed. You know what I mean? Or like the shootout. So happens.
Like the Hulk has his uncontrollable rage episodes. That's his curse. Charlie Bronson in Death Wish has uncontrollable death of family and loved ones in horrific, murderous ways. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it would suck to be him because any friends or lovers, they're going to die. So like when the cop gives him his gun, he's just like, okay, this is why I'm here. Right. I thought I was coming here to hang out with my buddy.
He's the angel of death.
I'm really here. Yeah. I'm the angel of fucking, the smiling face of death. He's just here to destroy. And Charlie Bronson smiles a lot in this movie. He smiles a lot. And it's just like, there's no emotion behind it.
I like how
there's no joy in that smile.
I like how the Death Wish movies play with the typical like philosophy of the vigilante kind of shit, kind of like Batman or something like that, Watchmen.
Who would win between Paul Kersey and Batman?
Batman.
Batman.
But
all day.
Well, Paul Kersey actually will murder someone too. So my point is Death Wish 3 doesn't really do anything with that. They're simply like, this guy's awesome. Like the cops are supporting him, even though they're not supposed to. It's kind of a corrupt, shady thing.
The neighborhood's
totally supporting. Like it's clear who's murdering these criminals in this movie, and everyone's like, down.
Let's get to that.
Okay.
You're getting ahead of yourself. So he meets fake Ernest Borgnine. Fake Ernest Borgnine shows him these huge ass machine guns. They're M30s that are like, I don't know, the machine guns, the heavy artillery they use in the Korean War. They just have them there, right? And so then they're walking around and fucking Charlie Bronson's like, I'm going to lure these motherfuckers out. So he goes and buys a nice car. And he's walking in the house, in the building. He parks the car right outside the apartment building. And he's walking in the building and there's like some smell. He smells food. So he introduces himself to the nice Jewish couple that live on the ground floor. And they're cooking food. So he comes over for dinner. Now, before he comes over for dinner, I got to remind everybody that he goes and puts on like a 3-piece suit.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have dinner in urban squalor with your Jewish friends, you dress for the occasion.
Yeah.
So
I think it was like, what do they call it? Not Shabbos. What is the Sabbath? I think it was a Friday night, You want to get a little gussied up.
Well, sure.
But in that scene, I said to you, I was like, man, we need to bring that back. Like, if people invite us over for dinner, we should wear like 3-piece suits. Like, it's no big thing. Like gentlemen.
I'm down. I'm totally down for that.
I got to find a 3-piece suit.
I mean, the only person whose house I go to for dinner really is you. But I'll do it.
I expect and I'll make you 3-piece
underdressed.
Suit next time you come over.
Yeah. What's the third piece? What is the third
vest.
piece of a 3-piece suit?
The vest.
Oh, a vest. I need a vest too. Oh, shit. Well, anywho, so they're at dinner. And they hear a commotion outside. So Charlie Bronson walks outside. And there's these 2 street thugs fucking with his car. And they said, this ain't none of your business. He says, that's my car. It is my business. And they're like, oh, yeah, motherfucker. They pull out a knife. And Charlie Bronson pulls out a gun. Bam, bam, shoots them both to death. He then walks back inside, sits down for dinner, makes a joke about how he just killed 2 people, and continues to have his dinner with his friends.
This is the level of murder that this man has done. Like, he is at the point where it's like just another day at the office. You know, he had to go take care of something. He murdered 2 young street toughs outside for trying to steal his car.
In terms of like police, that would be entrapment because he brought the car in intentionally. That was bait, you know?
Oh, that happens all the time, though. But like, he also murdered them.
Right, he murdered them. But that's the thing. He goes and sits down, and like, this man is the angel of death. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, there is no character.
I think it's worth bringing up. Like, what is this? Maybe his first kill in this movie? Is that what we're saying here?
Sure, I think so. Yeah, it is. It is.
The point of me asking that is, after his first kill in the original Death Wish, there's a scene of him vomiting in like complete disgust of his actions. In Death Wish 3, he has come so far, the black-eyed shark angel of death that is Charles Bronson, to the point where he goes back and has a bowl of matzo balls, and so you know what I mean? Like,
he's like, that's all fine.
Yeah,
it's good.
It smells great. He goes, smells great. I forgot what they were having. That's the other scene where he's like, it smells great. We'll get to that. He's food is a weird background character in this movie.
Oh yeah, some of the best
or having
food
meals with
I've
people.
ever heard. There's a lot of good. There are a lot.
I'm gonna get it out of the way right now. We're gonna skip over scenes and lines that are totally worthy of bringing it up. We're just trying to recap as we go along, and because we can't just reenact the whole movie because it's that fucking quotable and memorable. But
It's so fucking okay. So when we first watched it, I was like, that was good. When we watched it the second time, I was on the edge of my seat with excitement throughout the whole thing because I knew it was going to happen, and I was so excited about all of it happening. This movie was better the second time.
Yeah, so think about it like this. Think about the joy of the first time you ride on one of your favorite roller coasters. Right. And there's a newness to it. It's like something you've never experienced before, and you have such a positive experience with that first ride on that roller coaster that, of course, next time you come to the park, you want to go on that roller coaster again. But this time, know it's going to be awesome, and you're going to have a whole lot of fun. Even though you might know what to expect, it's still... Oh God, yes, this part. Oh yes, oh my God, of course.
It's even better because you appreciate it more. You know what I mean?
There's no uncertainty
You're waiting
anymore.
for that. Right. You're waiting for that to happen. And when it happens, you're like, yes, it happened. And it was fucking awesome.
Okay.
And that happens a lot in this goddamn movie. So then what else? Okay. So one thing we missed, so when he was in jail, they put him in the clink with everybody, and he gets in a fight with Eric the Viking Ginger Nuts or whatever his fucking name is, right?
Ginger Balls.
They get into a brawl, Ginger Balls. And, why did they get in a brawl? I guess this Eric the Ginger Balls knew just by looking at Charlie Bronson that was a shark with a mustache. And he's like, I can, that's danger. So he immediately wanted to fight it. But he picked a fight with the wrong guy.
You know what I realized I love this movie reminded me of? I love a scene in a film where like the typical jailhouse drunk tank is full of just hardened fucking murderous criminals.
Right. Yeah.
This is not prison. This is just like where they throw people away while they're being booked and shit, But
you're gonna spend like 2 nights in there, maybe.
You got to remember too what neighborhood we're dealing with. But it's still funny, like when they throw someone in the drunk tank, and it's just like there's some sort of fucking like Hannibal Lecter character or something in there. Like, why is he in there with the homeless people that were on crack and whatever,
Right. Well, that's what it's like in canon films, So we move on. We'll move on. I'm going to touch on one of the next great kills. So there's a guy called Giggler, And Giggler runs and he giggles. And he's one of the gang. He's part of the street gang with Bill S. Preston Esquire and Eric the Gingerballs. And so everybody hates Giggler because he's so fast and he gets away, you know, and he steals people's purses and he rapes women. He just runs away. So they're going out. Charlie Bronson goes down to the fucking the little bodega on the corner, and he's carrying like an expensive Nikon camera with him once again as bait. And he goes in, he buys an ice cream pop for himself, buys one for the little kid that's in there too. The kid's like, all right. So Charlie Bronson walks outside sucking on his lollipop ice cream. Giggler runs by and grabs the camera and runs off, laughing hysterically as he does. Charles Bronson drops his fucking ice cream, pulls his gun out, and shoots the motherfucker to death. Shoots him in the back as he runs away. And everybody in the neighborhood starts cheering and clapping at the top of their lungs. It's fucking beautiful.
They've had it.
It's fucking beautiful.
They've had it. They're an oppressed people with an occupying force in their community. And no one's doing anything about it because the stupid justice system won't let anyone go in and clean up the streets. So God has sent down the angel of death, which is Paul Kersey, a.k.a. Charlie Bronson in Death Wish 3. The black-eyed shark, angel of death, right?
The black-eyed mustached shark.
So these people are at their wits' end. It's not even like, and I'm sure they've seen or are very familiar with murder or violence in general. Because of where they live, but finally someone's stepping up the plate to fucking deal with it, you know? And so they're kind of conditioned to that.
Dealing with it.
So it's like, yeah, we see people get murdered in the streets almost every day. You know, of course we're just gonna celebrate when one of those murderers gets clapped too, you know?
I mean, amen to that. They've seen so many die, you know, they've seen so many die of their own. Mm-hmm. And now they're getting to see it paid back.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's not, you know, I know it's kind of a tired point at this point, but like it's not. He's chasing him down like Batman would and like tying him up and waiting for the cops to come get him. No, it's like point blank. I'm going to shoot you with a fucking firearm, dead. You know, we're not trying to stop you from running away either. We're not just trying to hit you in the leg so we can run over there and arrest you. No, we are going to murder you in cold blood because you are a fucking hardened criminal that is terrorizing this neighborhood.
What was his gun's name?
Oh,
he had his gun had a name.
You got to find that out.
The fuck gun, because he motherfucker.
It's like Elsie or something.
Gun. It's like an elephant gun. It's like a fucking elephant gun.
Yeah, you got to look up
Wildy.
We got to. All right, so let's transition into the. Let's transition.
Wildy Magnum.
Can you intro Wildy? Act like we're going into the next part of the show.
So one of the things that Paul Kersey does, and this is something that is recurring. He keeps going back there. He gets himself a P.O. box. That's what you do when you move into urban squalor. In New York to avenge your dead Korean War buddy is you go get a P.O. box.
Write these tips down, folks.
Yeah. This is future reference. When the world turns into streets of rage, this is what you need to do. So he keeps telling his friends, oh, well, Wildy's coming. My buddy Wildy's coming. He's going to help us out. So he sets up Wildy a couple times and finally checks through his P.O. box, gets this huge box and opens it up. And it's a .475 Wildy Magnum pistol. It's like an elephant gun of fucking pistols. Motherfucker has his own bullet making system to create his own ammo for Wildy.
Right.
It's fucking awesome.
And I think there's even a like Dirty Harry had I believe it was a .44 Magnum. And there's even I swear to God, this has to be a wink, wink, nod, nod, fuck Dirty Harry joke, where they're like, they bring up a .44 Magnum, and Charlie Bronson says something like, "Oh, that shit's like, that's weak sauce or whatever." Like he kind of disparages it, and he has LD.
Right. He's like, "That's nothing. You call that a knife? This is a knife."
That's not a knife. It's a spoon.
Yeah.
I see you've played Knifey Spoony before. What's that from, Adam?
So yeah, I don't know what is that from. I know.
Are you
that.
serious?
What's it from?
It's when the Simpsons go to Australia, bro.
That's right. That's right. Oh, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So yeah, Knifey Spoony. He's got a big gun. He's got a bigger gun than Eastwood's, is what we're saying. I mean, back in the day, even when Clint Eastwood was like taken off, he was in the shadow of Charlie Bronson. Like,
yeah,
Bronson,
I mean, it was definitely that same genre. You got the Bullet, Paul Newman stuff. I mean, it was just that late 60s, 70s guys,
badassery.
Those guys.
So then let's move on to another whole theme in this movie is the women, the wives getting raped and killed.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up, actually.
Maria. Oh, look we're on the same page. We're on the same wavelength tonight, buddy. So Maria is the wife of Rodriguez. I'm going to assume her last name is Rodriguez as well. So she gets kidnapped by the Mad Gear Gang or whatever the fuck they're called. And they take her and they rape her viciously. And she goes to the hospital. And they get a call and Rodriguez is crying because his wife has been brutalized by this goddamn streets of rage gangs. And they go to the hospital. They're like, well, she has a broken arm. And they're like, okay, it's just a broken arm. They get to the hospital and the doctor's like, your wife is dead. And he's like, what? You said she had a broken arm. And they're like, yeah, it's a blood clot. She's fucking dead now.
You got to remember, this is pretty much exactly what happened to old Charlie Bronson in the first Death Wish. They were just kind of like, hey, get to the hospital. Get to the hospital. Something happened. And it turns out his wife just ends up fucking dying.
Just fucking dead.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing happened to Rodriguez.
I mean, it's not exactly the same, but it's definitely like kind of a similar throwback to show like, hey, like Charlie Bronson's going to be able to relate to this fucking situation and murder some people.
And Rodriguez is about to go all Death Wish. And he does. So there's that. So Maria gets killed. Motivation. This female character is just there to motivate revenge. Then there's the old couple that runs the grocery store, and they weren't paying or giving away free shit to the gang. So Eric Gingerballs breaks into the house they live in while Papa Bear's at work and cuts Mama Bear's throat. Just you're dead.
It's quite brutal.
And it's like, holy shit. So now the shopkeep, he's got a fucking death wish too.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite, and we've left this all out, but also to jump back to Paul Kersey's illustrious time in jail, he meets the social worker, this cute little glasses-eyed, blonde-haired social worker, and she takes an immediate interest in him because his eyes are dead like a shark. So she's immediately attracted to him.
Obviously.
So at one point, he's in urban squalor, and she shows up in a cab and is like, hey, I was looking for you. And he's like, why? Because I wanted to talk, blah, blah, blah. I came here to ask you out on a date. And Charlie Bronson's like, okay, I like dates. And so they agree to a date. And I'm just like, wait a second. This poor woman went into urban squalor to find a shark with a mustache to ask him out on a fucking date.
Well, wasn't she like a journalist or something?
No. She was like the social worker that was like, so district something with the fucking.
Okay.
She was like the representation of the people that the brutal cops got their hands on.
Okay.
So she had an interest in the Kersey case, but she had stars in her eyes from the time she laid eyes on Charlie Bronson.
Old as fuck Charlie Bronson.
So we have a little blooming romance, and she invites him over for dinner. Mm-hmm. So he goes to dinner at her home. I mean, that's always good, boys. Like, the woman gets in a cab and goes to urban squalor to find you and invites you back to her home for dinner.
She's fucking motivated.
You're getting late.
She's down.
You're getting late. She's down. She's DTF.
That is a down bitch.
So he goes.
And not in a gross way, like in a very legitimate, I want to pursue a relationship with you kind of way.
Really? Would you?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I
Is like
mean-
I don't think that she was just. I don't think that her motivation was just like I just need some Charlie Bronson mustache dick. You know. I think she actually really had the hots for him in a more profound way than that.
Well, sure. I don't think. Yeah, you're right. She probably
Like
wasn't.
she wasn't just
horny
looking to
skank,
get
right?
laid. You know, she wanted to have a legitimate date with him and feed him.
She
What does
saw
she feed him?
something.
What does she feed him? Adam.
So he goes to her house and she says, "Well, I can cook chicken. All I know how to cook is chicken." And in the most famous movie quote of all time, perhaps, Charlie Bronson says, "Chicken's good. I like chicken."
Chicken's good. I like chicken. I
just want to thank Michael Winter and the Academy for writing that line.
And for fucking Homeboy pulling it off in spades. It's just it's a very weird. It's a weird moment in the film. Like we've definitely rewound.
So when we watched this, like 6 times, when we watch this movie, we're watching Death Wish 3. We've seen people be brutally murdered already, right? In vicious ways. And he just said, "Chicken's good. I like chicken."
Right.
So great.
It's fucking bananas.
Oh, it's amazing. It's fucking bananas. So then they have like a sweet, innocent little mustache kiss.
Yes.
It's just an extreme close up of their lips coming in for the ever so slightest peck. It's lovely. It's lovely. Death Wish 3. It's got it all, folks.
Now you got to remember too.
He
He is still hesitant to get close to anyone, right? Because he's just like, I don't want to lose anyone, and apparently people that get close to me fucking get murdered in some way, you know?
But here's the deal. Charlie Bronson never says any of that.
Right. Well, he
never even
says, I lost
alludes
my
to any of
wife
that.
and all that stuff. He eventually tells her. He eventually tells her.
Okay, he does open up. He does open up, right?
Right.
And you know what happens to women when Charlie fucking Bronson opens up to them? So they go on a date, or it's like their second date. He goes to visit her. And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to my sister's house out of town. I want you to come with me." And he's like, "Okay, let's go get dinner." So they get in the car to drive for dinner.
Is it only their second date?
Second date.
I feel like there's a
Apparently, the
scene where
Mad Gear gang-
they've had sex at this point though.
Well, in between those 2 dates, I think this was like a post-fuck dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
that's
was like-
exactly what it was
like-
actually. That's exactly what it was.
I've had those. Those are fun. Those are fun. You fuck real
post-fuck
good. You
dinner.
go out for dinner. It's great.
Love a good old fashioned post-fuck dinner.
Yep. So they go for the PFD, but the Mad Gear gang has been following them. And so when he stops at his P.O. box to check his mail, the Mad Gear gang comes up, punches her in the face, right in the car, knocks her clean out. Because again, this is a movie. In movies, you get socked in the face, you're out cold. I prefer for women to abuse me, but that's just me personally.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. So anywho, they cold cock her, knock her out, and then they release the parking brake, and the car starts going down the hill. And I mean, it was really going. It probably got up to like 23, 24 miles an hour. And then it like slowly
No, it didn't though.
dings into it. Hold on. It slowly dings into another car at the bottom of the hill, and both cars explode and go into flames.
Right.
And our love interest is gone. Now, the sad thing about it is she didn't know any of what was going on with him. She didn't know he was in the middle of like a murderous rampage. You know, she didn't know that he had the Mad Gear gang chasing him down right now. She was oblivious. She just thought, wow, I finally met a guy I liked. I hopped in a cab and drove to urban squalor to put myself out there. And now you're dead.
Yeah.
Great character.
I mean,
arc.
not a great choice,
character arc.
guy, lady. And I
But
mean,
you know the thing
did you
is-
mention that the car
Go
exploded?
ahead. Yes, it just ding. It was like a fender bender. It was a slight fender bender, and both of them fucking go up like the 4th of July. It's fucking amazing, man. Fucking
Yeah.
canon movies.
And I remember the
They're
first time we watched this a couple months. I think we watched it originally around Christmas, maybe.
Sure.
I just remember being like just yelling before it exploded. I just remember them be like, "Oh, explode, explode!" And then sure enough, this little fucking
Sure enough, it fucking
piddly
exploded.
ass fucking fender bender. Canon Films will give it to you.
If any of you listening have been in a car accident and you're sitting here listening to this, I guarantee it was worse than the car accident that happens in Death Wish 3 that causes the death of that poor woman. But the real sad thing, right, is like Kersey doesn't even react. There's no teardrop. There's no nothing.
No, yeah.
He is dead behind those eyes.
You can literally hear his internal dialogue going.
Emptiness.
His internal dialogu's like, yeah, of course that just fucking happened. You know?
He's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There
like,
it
well,
is.
I was
there
waiting for this.
He's like, I liked your chicken. I really liked your chicken.
Yeah.
You know, never gonna have that chicken again. So next up, we have what is just the grand finale of the movie. And again, it's not like this isn't the precursor to it. This isn't the straw that broke the camel's back per se. It's just this is where the Angel of Death really shows his stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's got the M30 machine gun. The people of the streets are armed. The whole fucking, you know, the 5 boroughs Mad Gear gang from Streets of Rage and everywhere in between shows up. I mean, I think like the bombers from Streets of Fire were in there. They all just show up on motorcycles, all different colors, throwing bombs into fucking grocery stores, just total chaos. And, you know, what's Charlie Bronson do? What do him and his buddies do? They get a bunch of guns and they go and kill fucking everybody.
I think it's worth pointing out that he's got the whole neighborhood as a little protective militia at this point.
Yeah, it's really
that's how this movie kind of ups the ante. It's not just Charlie Bronson running around saving the day. He like recruits all the old retired people in the neighborhood to help him fight back.
I mean, I will say the one thing that was odd to me is that at the end of it, all of a sudden, there's a whole montage of everybody in the neighborhood pulling their guns out of their sock drawers and shit. It's like, motherfucker, why didn't you have your gun before? You know, like.
Well, I mean, they did. And then, I mean, there's that whole like kind of subplot about how corrupt the cops are and how like they went in and took that old couple's gun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so like you have to use that shit selectively.
Yeah, I mean there were some undertones that like the Eric the Ginger Balls guy had connections because they're like, oh, he's never spent a night in jail, and I'm like, when we first met him, he was in the jail.
Yeah,
that's what
well, he was in like the
how has he ever
jail?
But how does he have a clean record? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the guy's walking around with like a line, like his hair is like a regular guy from the 80s haircut, but he has a stripe shaved right down the middle. Like your buddy's drunk and asleep and you just shave a stripe down the middle of his head. But that was his whole style. And then he'd wear it on the sides, like slicked down. He didn't even stand it out or nothing. Just looked stupid. He has a stupid haircut.
It was a very stupid haircut. Yeah, I could see what they were trying to like, what's like the next like shitty haircut of the 80s. You know what I mean?
There it is. That one didn't catch on, thankfully. So yeah, I mean, the last 20 minutes of it is just a huge fucking machine gun street fight between, you know, the uni or the conglomerated. Can't think of the right word. The unity people, you know, because each group was like unified with all the colors and all kumbaya.
It's kind of like the Warriors kind of thing. They all little factions and
man, the Warriors are so fucking good. So yes, exactly. So all the retirees fight all the street toughs, and there's guys hanging in trees, right, shooting at Charlie Bronson, getting shot out of fucking trees. There's people getting set on fire. Rodriguez has like a pipe. Like a lead pipe with he puts a shotgun shell, like a zip gun or something that he shoots people with. There's all sorts of shit going on.
It may sound like, and I'm not mad or accusing you of anything, Adam. Let me explain. It may sound like Adam's kind of just glazing through this part, and yes, but like there's no words that you can put to this whole third act, you know, that would do any kind of justice rather than watching it. But I think it's fair to note, like, the third act of this movie is a huge appeal as to why to watch it in the first place, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so Adam, why don't you try that again with a little more excitement, please?
Shut the fuck up. I mean, there's no more plot to explain. It's just like a nonstop bullet-ridden, kill-crazy rampage of blood orginess. It's fucking great, you know? I mean, there's just fires.
Did you talk about
everywhere.
the guy had like 250 calibers like in his closet from the war?
Yeah, he had like 2 M30s, and so they're out in play, and Rodriguez is just like feeding ammo into the gun while Charlie Bronson just shoots everybody. And Charlie Bronson's got plot armor, so nothing's gonna hurt him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like the Ed Lauder, the chief of police, comes in and like shoots the one guy that was maybe gonna shoot Charlie Bronson. So they team up and they're going around killing everybody. It's great. It's mayhem. It's total mayhem. It's a ton of fun. But it gets down to a showdown in Charlie Bronson's fucking at his apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in there. They're in the room. They're in the apartment itself. And somehow Eric Gingerballs is in there, and he's got a gun. And both Charlie Bronson and Ed Lauder have been shot. He's like, "Oh, I can't take both of us." He's like, "Oh yeah, I can." Well, the second he turns away from Charlie Bronson, that sexy mustached angel of death pulls out a fucking bazooka and shoots fucking Gingerballs with a bazooka in his own home. Motherfucker just explodes out the wall. And as that explosion happens, like the hot Cenobite chick, she's just outside. She starts screaming because I guess she just like psychically knew when Gingerballs exploded. Like there was no reason for her to know that.
Well, I think she knew that Gingerballs did not have a bazooka. So if you hear a bazooka, you're like, "Oh, I think that was Gingerballs." Gingerballs just
Maybe she
exploded.
knew where he was at too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it really matters, to be honest.
So I'm standing in my room right now, and I'm just thinking, like, this is about the size of the room. And I'm thinking if there's a guy standing in the corner, and I'm in the other corner, and I shot him with a bazooka here in this room.
I mean, you'd probably get pretty fucked up too.
I'm kind of thinking we both die.
You'd have some blowback for sure.
Totally die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd at least stumble back into the wall or something.
But hey, you know what? That's not how it works in Canada.
Bazooka inside of a one-bedroom apartment has some kick to it.
I'd say so. Yeah. So that's the end of that. That's pretty much the grand finale.
I mean, that's Death Wish 3 for sure. I mean, we did it as much justice as we could. But you know,
the chief of police is like, "Angel of Death, thank you for bringing sweet vengeance from on high and just sending these fuckers to hell. Go about your business." And Charlie Bronson does for a couple more Death Wish movies.
And I got to say, Adam, this is a winner. This is one of our favorites. I'm noticing a trend. Maybe we've talked about it. Maybe we haven't overtly acknowledged it. But as much as we like to watch and review and riff on horror movies, like I think these kind of action movies are definitely just as, exciting for us.
I know. And you say that, Bobby, right? Like you're saying it as if it's a thing, but like, if you look at our 120 something episodes,
right,
at least 40 of them are this kind of movie.
Yeah, I would I'd agree. I just feel like we get kind of typecasted into a horror podcast. I just want to point out, like, I love these.
With the 3 people that listen to us.
Yeah, they typecast us pretty bad.
This quit typecast us, you cunts. So just if anybody wants to know, I was just looking up online right now, Death Wish 4. I was wondering, like, what is it that sends them over the edge? In Death Wish 4, Citizen Avenger Paul Kersey undertakes another violent crusade against drug dealers because his girlfriend's daughter dies of a toxic drug overdose. So it's like the extended family. You know?
It's just
Part 1 and 2.
I mean, this is his character. People I love die, and I go murder them.
God, it would suck to be Paul Kersey.
And that's not what they were. That's just not what they were going for in the original Death Wish. I mean, that does happen, but they weren't like expecting him to like, oh, we're gonna make sequels where like everyone he comes in close contact with will get brutally murdered, and he will, you know what I mean? The first Death Wish takes itself very seriously.
Yeah, because it's like this man, and he's like you said, he's a non-violent man,
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I think when you think about that whole character development, like he wasn't the Angel of Death yet.
No.
In Death Wish 1,
it's a metamorphosis over 3 movies.
This is him becoming the Angel of Death.
I need to watch Death Wish 2 now that we've had this conversation.
I know, right? I'm going to watch Death Wish 1 and 2 and 10 to Midnight.
I think I'm going to watch Death Wish 2 right after we get done recording this episode.
Fuck yeah, bro.
That sounds like a fun way to...
I'll put it on too.
You want to Skype it together?
How do we do that?
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that with you.
I don't want to do that. But Death Wish 2 is on Hulu on Showtime. No, Stars. It's on Stars. If you have my Hulu, it's on there, Bobby. So if you have my Hulu,
sweet.
I recommend go watch.
Give me a quick Fox and Sons plug, and we'll get out of here.
So listen, there's this coffee. There's a coffee that
let me
gets
ask you. Wait, let me start you over, Adam.
Okay.
Because we've had legitimate conversations about how much you love Fox and Sons. So why don't you just tell the folks at home your story with Fox and Sons?
So my story right now is I'm currently out of Fox and Sons, and it's very difficult. It's difficult. I spend my days like grinding my teeth because I don't want to drink any other coffee than the Fox and Sons. Right now, this is true story, y'all. I've been drinking tea. I'm drinking like fucking chamomile tea and shit because I don't want to buy any of the fucking shitty coffee that they have at the fucking stores. Since I've had that sweet, sweet Foxy juice pouring down my throat, I don't want anything else.
You've tasted blood.
Fox, I want more. Fox, both your sons, however many you got, please hook a clown up. Send me some of that Fox and Sons, that good, sweet, sweet Java juice that you make with them beans, them delicious, beautiful beans.
Instead of begging for it, you can always go to foxinsons.com, use promo code NFE, and get your fill of a fresh bag of Fox and Sons coffee.
You know what? I think I'm going to do that. And I think that everybody listening at home should do the exact same thing. foxinsons.com for all your coffee needs.